The hall was silent, too silent. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. The human envoy, dressed in a simple dark suit with Earth's crust on his chest, stepped onto the council's grand platform. He stood a lone one-man surrounded by thousands of alien eyes. His name was not important anymore. What mattered was the mission. Peace. The Galactic Council had called this emergency meeting after months of rising tension between Earth and several Outer Rim empires. There had been trade disagreements, accidents. Some said Earth was too new. Others said humans were too dangerous. The envoy spoke calmly. "We offer trade, alliance, and mutual respect," he said. His voice echoed across the dome. "We ask only to be treated as equals." The council president, a tall creature with glowing scales and no mouth, turned its head slowly. It made a low, vibrating sound translated by machines as laughter. Others joined in, mocking, smirking. Then, something unexpected happened. A signal was sent. It was a secure channel Earth's EMERGENCY code. Back on Earth, deep inside a command room buried under Antarctica's ice, the signal flashed red. General Roan, Earth's military commander, stared at the screen. "Open the transmission," he said. The envoy's face appeared shaky, as if the camera was falling. His voice was rough. "They lied. The vote. It wasn't peaceful. The message cut off. Static. Then nothing. Everyone in Earth Command stood still. "Trace it," General Roan ordered. "Where did the transmission come from?" A young tech officer replied, "Confirmed. It was the Council homeworld. But, sir, we just lost the signal. The entire relay went offline." Another officer whispered, "Sir, we've also lost contact with our trade post near that system. No distress call, just gone." General Roan stared at the frozen last frame of the envoy's face, his eyes wide, his mouth half open. He looked afraid. Earth had sent him with no weapons, only words. And now, only silence remained. The Galactic Council made no official statement. Reporters asked questions. Other species grew nervous. But the Council repeated the same cold answer. The human envoy never arrived. Back on Earth, that lie was fuel. The evidence was clear. The emergency code was real. The timestamp, authentic. The location? Dead center of the Council's capital. For 3 days, Earth said nothing. No threats. No messages. But strange things began to happen. A group of merchant ships entered Sol space and were politely denied landing. The orbital rings turned dark. Defenses active. Human embassies across 3 sectors closed their doors without explanation. In deep space, old signals were reactivated frequencies, not used since Earth's first war with alien invaders nearly a century ago. And in the black of night, Earth's shipyards lit up. Inside a cold room beneath Mars, an AI unit came online. It was known as Horizon Directive. It had one rule. If Earth's diplomats are killed, activate Response Protocol 9. It spoke its first words in 80 years. Council execution confirmed. Strategic annihilation pending. Meanwhile, in a small colony near the edge of the Perseus Arm, a child saw something strange in the sky. A large black triangle, moving without sound. It was gone in seconds. The child's father, a retired pilot, knew that shape. "That wasn't a cargo ship," he whispered. "That was a ghost fleet." Back on the Council homeworld, delegates laughed and moved on. They didn't believe Earth would respond. After all, humans were outnumbered, outgunned, outranked. But what they didn't understand was this. Earth had stopped asking. 3 standard days had passed. No message from Earth. No threats. No noise. But in the outer systems, things were beginning to change. Small listening stations near human space were going silent one by one. At first, the Council dismissed it as signal interference. Then supply ships stopped arriving. Patrols went missing. A few brave reporters started asking questions. But the Council only gave one answer. Earth is cooperating. Nothing is wrong. They were lying, but not everyone believed the lie. One of them was Dren, a low-level assistant for the Communications Guild on Council Prime. He had always followed the rules, never questioned orders. Until that day, while scanning old transmission records, Dren noticed something strange. A blacked-out file sealed under Level 10 security, and it was tagged with one word, human. He wasn't supposed to access it, but curiosity pulled harder than fear. With shaky hands, Dren bypassed the firewall. The screen flickered. A video loaded. And then his heart dropped. It showed the Envoy standing in the middle of the council chamber. He wasn't speaking. He was begging. 2 guards held him by the arms. His voice was muffled. The camera shook, but the next moment was clear. One flash. One beam. The human envoy collapsed on the floor, unmoving. Applause echoed. The footage ended. Dren backed away from the console, sweat dripping down his neck. They executed him, publicly. No trial, no warning. And they filmed it. He copied the file onto a small crystal drive and ran. That night, a mysterious message reached dozens of neutral media channels across the galaxy. No sender, no trace. Just the file. Within hours, billions had seen it. The truth was out. Chaos exploded across the stars. On neutral worlds, alien citizens protested, demanding answers. Trade deals with the Council collapsed overnight. Entire planets cut ties. Many species had begun to respect humans, or at least feared them. Seeing a peaceful human envoy gunned down like an animal shocked even Earth's enemies. But Earth still said nothing. Not a word. Not a threat. Inside a dark conference room on Earth, General Roan watched the viral footage again. Around him, top Earth leaders sat in silence. No shouting. No debate. Only cold, burning focus. They broadcasted it themselves, one admiral whispered. They wanted us to see it. No, Roan replied. They wanted us to feel powerless. He stood and walked to the center table. It's time. The others nodded. High above Earth's surface, the moon began to shift. Hidden hangars opened. Massive engines roared to life. Ships with black hulls and no visible lights launched in silence. Dozens, then hundreds. These weren't warships built for defense. They were built for eradication. Meanwhile, on Council Prime, the leaders were panicking. The alien species, known as the Varelians, who once supported the Envoy's execution, had lost 2 border colonies overnight. No explosions. Just ... disappearance. No bodies. No wreckage. Nothing remained. Who is doing this? One leader screamed, but they all knew. And yet no one dared speak Earth's name. Then another message came, this time from an old human satellite, orbiting a dead planet. It was only 6 words, displayed in hundreds of alien languages. We heard your answer. Here's ours. The screen turned black, and the stars began to burn. Asterisk. At first, it looked like a system error. One trade beacon went offline. Then another dot. Then 6 . By the end of the day, 19 major council stations had gone completely dark. No signals. No traffic. No distress calls. Just silence. Across the galaxy, traffic control teams scrambled to fix what they thought was a glitch. But no one could reconnect. No ships returned. Patrols sent to investigate vanished too. Even worse, security feeds showed nothing. In many cases, the recording simply ended mid-frame, as if time itself had stopped. In a hidden war room deep under Earth's surface. General Roan stood in front of a large holographic map. Red circles were spreading. Each one marked a council. System that had gone dark. Beside him, a cold-voiced AI reported updates. 17 more targets confirmed. No survivors. Operation Silence continues. The humans didn't cheer. There were no loud speeches, just quiet nods. This wasn't revenge. This was a message. Meanwhile, on Council Prime, fear had finally taken hold. Delegates shouted over each other in the Grand Chamber. One leader accused Earth of declaring war. Another screamed that Earth wasn't strong enough for this. A third delegate, a lizard-like being with sharp eyes, stood slowly and said, "You still don't understand. This is not a war. This is a purge." His words froze the room. And then someone ran in. A junior officer, panting, wide-eyed. They've arrived. Dozens of black ships had appeared at the edge of council space. No warning, no radio signals. Just sudden, terrifying presence. Every scan failed to identify them. Their engines left no heat trail. Their hulls absorbed every kind of light. And then before anyone could act, they moved. In the Veltra system, a council naval base housing thousands of officers prepared for a defense. It never came. Instead, a single human drone entered orbit. It sent no threat. No message. Then it detonated without sound, releasing a wave of electromagnetic energy that tore through every machine, ship, and shield. No one inside had time to scream. Only the stars heard it. In the hours that followed, 3 more systems fell. Entire fleets were disabled before firing a single shot. Cities were left untouched, empty, quiet, their lights flickering in the dark. On one colony, a wall had been burned with a message in human script. Justice begins with silence. Council citizens began to flee, but even escape became a nightmare. Civilian transports found their engines dead mid-flight. Navigation systems looped endlessly. Some ships drifted into asteroid belts. Helpless. One alien news outlet leaked a message recorded by a dying ship captain. "I saw them. Human ships. No windows. Just eyes. Watching. No faces. No crew. Just death in every direction. It was the last message that outlet ever BROADCSTED. On neutral planets, leaders began begging Earth for peace. One planet sent 1 million credits as an apology. Another offered to exile the entire council delegation from their region. But Earth never replied. No envoys. No deals. Just more ships. Inside Earth's war command, General Roan stood before a screen now filled with green marker systems the AI had marked as cleansed. He didn't smile. He simply turned to his officers. Phase 2. A single nod. And across the stars, new systems began to blink out. The council, once the voice of law, was now begging in shadows. But there would be no courtroom. There would be no debate. Because the moment they killed Earth's envoy, they ended the conversation. And now, humanity was speaking without words. Asterisk, no one knew where the fleet came from. There were no jump signatures. No engine trails. No heat. Just silence followed by shadows. It began when Council Prime's defense grid picked up dozens of unknown objects just outside orbit. At first, they were dismissed as debris. But then they stopped moving. And all satellites above the planet went black at the same moment. That's when the panic began. Council military forces scrambled to launch fighters. Alarms rang across every level of the city spires. Citizens flooded underground bunkers. Government leaders ran to their secure chambers. But the skies above them stayed quiet. The black ships shaped like long, jagged daggers floated in still formation. And then they began to fall. They didn't crash. They descended. Slow, silent, controlled. One ship moved toward the orbital command tower. It did not fire. It did not speak. Instead, it extended a long black cable into the atmosphere. It touched the tower's upper deck, the structure simply. Disintegrated dust no fire. No explosion just atoms turning into air. General Drek, head of Council Planetary Defense, screamed into his console. Fire! Fire on everything! Missiles launched. Beams of plasma cut across the sky. But the weapons never reached the ships. Each one was absorbed, neutralized, or redirected back into the ground. The Council's greatest weapons were useless. Inside the Council war room, leaders watched in horror as their defenses failed. Panic spread. The Council. President screamed. Open negotiations. Send a peace offer. But the human fleet still said nothing. Not a single signal. No. Image. No demands. Then the lights went out. Across the entire planet. Cities went dark. Screens died. Machines stopped. Only the stars above remained glowing in eerie silence. Suddenly, a single human drone dropped from orbit. It landed in the center of the Council Hall courtyard. It was shaped like a sphere, black, polished, humming gently. A crowd of soldiers surrounded it. Then it opened. From inside, a beam projected upward, displaying a single human face, not live. A recording. General Roan. His voice was calm, cold. This is not war. This is judgment. You murdered a man who came in peace. And now, the silence you gave him belongs to you. The drone exploded in white light. When it cleared, every soldier in the courtyard was gone. No blood, no debris, just empty armor. Back on Earth, no one celebrated. In a quiet control room beneath the surface, AI monitors displayed a growing list. Council worlds, stations, fleets, all marked in red. Beside each name, one simple word: neutralized. Meanwhile, in distant parts of the galaxy, smaller species watched with wide eyes. Some had once mocked Earth. Others had feared them. Now, they hid. The message was clear. Humans did not shout. They did not threaten. They acted. And when they did, no one could stop them. In a final attempt, a group of Council delegates fled to a secret station hidden near a dying star. They believed they were safe, until a black human ship arrived, one no larger than a shuttle. No weapons. No crew. It simply docked and played a message. You took one life. Earth has no interest in taking millions, but those who ordered the execution must be erased. Within moments, the delegates began disappearing, one by one. No gunfire, no resistance, just ... Gone. Back in the ruins of Council Prime, a small alien child walked through the dust. In the middle of the great square, she found a symbol burned into the stone. It was a simple image. Earth. Underneath, words written in hundreds of languages. Let peace be real next time. The day Earth spoke. Without words changed the galaxy forever. Because now everyone knew, when humans are quiet, you've already lost, asterisk. They thought it was over. After the fall of Council Prime, surviving species waited hiding in deep space, behind old alliances and forgotten treaties. But Earth was not finished, because now it was personal. The human fleet didn't attack blindly. They moved with direction, purpose. They weren't targeting planets. They weren't destroying cities. They were hunting names. Every Council official who had raised their hand to vote for the Envoy's death. Every commander who gave silent approval. Every alien voice that had stayed quiet in that moment of injustice. Was now on Earth's list. The list had 431 names. Each name was followed by coordinates. Each coordinate was followed by silence. In the Thuros cluster, a powerful warlord named Grevik had once mocked Earth in a public speech. They are too emotional, too soft. Let them cry over their envoy's ashes. 3 days later, His fortress exploded from the inside. Survivors reported seeing a black shadow slip through steel doors. Not a man, not a machine, something in between. They never saw it again. Grevik's name was later marked, erased dot in the Calvari Nebula. A council scientist who designed the weapon that killed the Envoy had gone into hiding. She had changed her name, fled to a mining colony, disguised herself as a common worker. One day, she received a message on her personal device. It was only a sentence. Your work was not forgotten. She never made it to her next shift. The only thing found in her room was a small silver cube. Inside it, a hollow image of the human envoy standing proud. On a prison planet orbiting a red dwarf, an entire squad of guards, who had once laughed at the execution, was stationed. One morning, the prison gates opened, but no ships landed. No sounds echoed. The guards were found collapsed, asleep but not dead. On every wall, glowing letters burned into the stone. He came in peace. The prisoners had been untouched, but every council guard was gone. The galaxy was terrified, not just because Earth could fight, but because they weren't fighting like anyone else. No invasions, no conquering, just names. One by one, erased like ink from a page, and they never missed. Some tried to bargain. One species offered Earth 100 worlds as payment. Another promised eternal loyalty. But humans didn't respond. Instead, they released a message, not through warships or ambassadors, but through a quiet broadcast, placed into every frequency the Council once used. This is not about territory. This is not about power. This is about the voice you silenced. You took one life to make a statement. We are finishing the sentence. Inside Earth's command center, the list of 431 names was growing shorter. General Roan stood in front of the display. Behind him, a dozen officers in silent uniform. Report? He asked. A voice responded. 63 names remain. He nodded. Proceed. Back in the galaxy, news spread that 2 more council delegates had taken their own lives. They had left final words etched into stone. We should have listened. On a refugee world, a child asked her father, "Will Earth hurt us?" The father replied softly, "Not if we never lie to them." And in the background of it all, Earth still remained unseen. No leader appeared on screens. No speech was given. No celebration was broadcast. Because to Earth, this wasn't victory. It was balance. By the time the Council's former allies gathered the courage to speak, it was too late. They had already been judged, and the only question now was, who would be the last name on Earth's list? The galaxy no longer whispered. It stayed quiet, not from peace, but from fear. Ships avoided former Council space. Entire trade routes had vanished. Once great empires that stood behind the Council were now hiding their banners. Stations that once demanded Earth's surrender were now empty, floating in silence. And Earth? Still silent. Still watching. Only 12 names remained on the list. They were the highest-ranking members of the Council. The ones who had led the vote. The ones who had clapped when Earth's envoy died on their floor. They were hiding. In a fortress called Arkle Station, orbiting a neutron star, shielded, cloaked, guarded by a fleet of warships and turrets from 10 species. They believed it was untraceable. They believed it was safe. They were wrong. One morning, every screen in the station turned black, and a simple logo appeared. Earth. No music. No voice. Just the logo pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Panic swept the command halls. Leaders shouted. Soldiers loaded weapons. Engineers reinforced shields. But nothing attacked. Instead, something even worse arrived. A human capsule. No weapons, no engines drifted in from the darkness. No ship was seen near it. No heat signature. Just a silent object moving toward the fortress. The guards destroyed it mid-space. Or so they thought. Minutes later, it appeared inside the station's command room. No damage, no entry detected. Just sitting on the floor, as if it had always been there. It opened slowly. Inside, a sphere hovered, spinning. A soft blue light glowed from it. A female voice spoke, calm and steady. This is Earth's final message. No empire lasts forever. No lie stays buried. You did not kill a soldier. You murdered a voice. So now we remove yours. Before anyone could react, the lights went out. When the lights returned, the command room was empty. No bodies. No alarms. Just silence. All 12 council leaders gone. Only the sphere remained. It projected one final message. Your council is no more. Peace will now be built on truth, not fear. All across the galaxy, screens flickered with the same words in hundreds of languages. The council has fallen. Earth does not seek power. Earth seeks silence. And now it has it. On neutral worlds, alien citizens stared at the stars with awe. For the first time in generations, no one ruled them. No council. No voices above their heads. Only a quiet presence that had acted without, boasting without ego, without greed, and yet had left the strongest message in galactic history. On Earth, no parades were held. No celebrations took place. Because Earth had never wanted war. They had sent a diplomat, a man of peace, a bridge, and the galaxy had burned it. In a small memorial garden near Earth's oldest spaceport, a statue of the Envoy was placed. He stood tall, one hand raised in peace, the other holding nothing. No sword, no flag, just an empty hand, the same hand he had offered the day he died. Beneath the statue, an inscription. He spoke. They silenced him, we remember. The galaxy would never be the same. Trade would rebuild. Borders would return. New councils would rise, but none would dare forget the lesson. If you kill Earth's voice, Earth does not shout. It removes you. And somewhere, in the black of deep space, the human fleet waited. Invisible, silent, watching, not with anger, but with memory. Because humans had long learned something the galaxy hadn't. True peace is not the absence of war. It's the presence of justice. Asterisk.